Well, once again, thanks for coming to Let's Talk Wellness here with Sam, where I'm a cook and book session with Sam from an EAG vendor, and we're gonna be talking about some smoothies. I'll turn it to you.
Thanks, Jen. I am super excited about this because, oh my gosh, it's like the perfect day to do it. It is 100 degrees outside, literally. So I have my water here, so you might see me going back and forth to it just to stay hydrated. But it's a really important point, even just to bring up now. Like, now is the time. I mean, we should always be focusing on hydration, but it is so important to make sure that we are drinking enough water, especially during this heat wave. It is so important. So some really fun ways that we could actually drink some of our nutrients, I'm going to go over today. So we have 3 different recipes. They're all food smart recipes. And I'm going to ask you guys to bear with me a little bit because I have one blender and it's like an old reliable. So I'm hoping it'll do me good here. But we're gonna make I chose a couple of unique ones, and I'm gonna teach you guys about how to kind of build your own smoothie if you don't have these specific ingredients necessarily. So the first one we're gonna do is good green tea smoothie. So I've actually brewed some green tea. The green tea I have at home actually has dandelion in it, so it doesn't look super green, but that's what I have here. And then we're also gonna do a creamsicle breakfast smoothie. And then last one we're gonna do is a chocolate peanut butter banana. So what I've done already, as you guys can kind of see, is I've laid out some of the ingredients within the containers, just to make it a little bit easier for the demonstration purposes. So I'm going to talk through all of them. So let's start with the green tea smoothie. I was so excited about this one because, green tea, I've actually seen it used in cooking, but I've never seen it used in a smoothie. And I thought, wow, what an awesome idea, because it's a really great way of incorporating the green tea, which has EGCG, which is great antioxidants. So what I did was I actually brewed this a little stronger than I typically would, and then I let it cool. So there are specific instructions on the Food Smart recipe for this. And what I also did was I bought white grapes. I always call them green grapes because they're green, but I bought white grapes, and the recipe calls for 3 cups. For this specific recipe, I'm only going to make 1 serving, but the rest we're going to make 2 servings, which is what the recipe calls for. So the recipe for the green tea smoothie is also 2 servings, but I'm going to show you guys how I cut everything in half. So 3 cups of frozen white grapes. Instead, I did 1 cup, which turned out to be I think it was like 16 or 17. Of course, it's going to depend on the size of the grapes. But that is about the serving of grapes as well. So that is your 1 serving of fruit in your smoothie recipe here. Then 2 cups of baby spinach. So I just used about 1 cup and just kind of put it in there. And then I did 3/4 of a cup of brewed green tea instead of 1.5 cups. So I'm going to add that. And then this recipe actually calls for avocado, which is a really fun ingredient for smoothies. Have you guys ever used avocado in your smoothies before? Let me know in the comments. What I love about it is it's going to add great fat and fiber, so it's going to be a little more filling. And I'm going to try a trick that I saw online recently to get the pit out without using a knife. So again, bear with me if it doesn't work. I did it once and it did. A perfect avocado. Love when that happens. Okay, so the trick I actually saw online was if you put your 2 fingers like this and your thumb in the back behind the pit, if you push, the pit just comes out and this kind of stays intact. How perfect was that? Glad it worked. And I'm just going to spoon the avocado in here. So I did cut this in half, this recipe. So the recipe calls for half an avocado. So I'm going to use about 1/4. It's a little more than 1/4, but that's okay. And then what I'm going to do here is we're just going to blend it up. So I only have 1 blender attachment. So what I'm going to be doing is if you guys want to go on mute, I am going to turn the blender on. It's not super loud, but just in case it picks it up through the AirPods. So I'm going to blend it up, and then I'm going to actually just rinse this to go on to the next one. So just to let you guys know what to expect. Wow. That happened really easily, and I'll tell you why. This one is very liquidy in texture. And I think the main reason behind that, I'm gonna grab a cup, is because it actually has the spinach in there, which has a lot of water. It's got the grapes, which have a lot of water. We added the green tea also as liquid, which is really nice. The one thing that I would say that this recipe is missing, well, two things, because I forgot to put the honey in, so that's one. Two is a little protein. So if you were looking at this for like a meal replacement, then I would say you definitely want to add a little bit more protein and even maybe a little bit more carbs. So a really fun thing that you could add to the smoothie is silken tofu. So has anybody ever tried that before? I'm very, very curious. I actually have, and it comes pretty good. You would think that the texture would be weird, but it was very surprisingly really delicious. So here's our green tea smoothie. I'm going to take a quick sip, see if it really needs the honey. Okay, it does. So make sure you put the honey in. And again, what I love about smoothie recipes is that you control how much goes in. So the recipe, I think, calls for 2 teaspoons of honey, but try it with 1 and see how it tastes. And especially with this, right? We did half the recipe, so we would do 1 teaspoon of honey. So you really have control over how much you put in there. And honey and maple syrup, all those things, while delicious and help to make our smoothies delicious, are going to add sugar. And it's okay to utilize them. Like, there's no reason to be afraid of them. It's just about the amount that we use. Okay. What do you guys think? Would you try this one? This one is like pretty unique, I would say. Plus, I will say too, I use like a dandelion green tea. So that one has a little bit of a different taste than just green tea. But I would definitely play around with using a little more honey in this one, or some honey, because I totally forgot it. Okay. So does anybody have questions on that one? Questions on anything at all? I mean, I feel like everything we put in there was green. It's got that beautiful green color. So that's really nice. Okay, there's smoothie one. All right. Jen, if there's anything coming through, if you could read them to me, that would be great, because I can't see. But next up, we're going to do... All right, sorry. Perfect.
Nope, avocado is great in so much. Where can we find the recipes? And yes to avocado, and I would like to try it. So these recipes are from Food Smart, correct? Mm-hmm. The recipes are right from Food Smart, so you could find them right within your version post. If you go to your programs page, you'll be able to see Food Smart by Sapongo listed there. Also, too, if you tap on Nutrition Guide under Health, you could look for recipes right there too under Try Recipes.
Yeah, there were a lot of fun ones there. So a lot of, even these today are a little bit different. You guys will see that the last one that we're going to do is a little thicker. So like the texture of this one is definitely liquidy. This one's going to be a little thicker because we're using frozen fruit and ice. And if you wanted to thicken this one, you could always throw the grapes in the freezer. Frozen grapes are such a nice treat. You know, even if you want to grab some as a snack, maybe pair it with some nuts or seeds just to balance it out to give you a little bit more of a fullness factor. That's a really nice snack, especially when it's so hot. Okay, my mango in here is sweating, and so is the ice. It's only been out for like 5 minutes, 10 minutes. So this is what we're going to start with for the creamsicle breakfast smoothie. So this one calls for 1 cup of frozen mango, or you could use regular mango if you have it at home. I find frozen's really nice in these types of things. Ice is going to, of course, give it a little bit more, make it a little bit like colder. This is definitely cold, but it's going to help with that. And then what I actually have here is I have Greek yogurt. So this recipe calls for plain Greek yogurt, the chocolate banana. So if you only had plain Greek yogurt on hand, what I did to make a vanilla Greek yogurt is I just added some vanilla extract and added a little sweetener, just because that's going to mimic the vanilla Greek yogurt. So if that's not typically something that you buy, just think about ways that you can utilize it if you don't have it on hand. But vanilla Greek yogurt is really nice in here. So even if you're buying it for smoothies, instead of buying a larger container, we always buy the big tub of plain Greek yogurt. You could always buy the smaller one, and they definitely have lower sugar options for these items as well. So there's about a cup here. I'm going to put in our container. And Greek yogurt, of course, is such a nice addition to smoothies for protein. So it's a really great way of adding protein in there. Okay, so we have Greek yogurt, we have mango. What I actually did was, instead of using frozen orange concentrate, because I couldn't find it, is I actually just grabbed some orange juice. So remember that we are adding some sweetness with the orange juice. So there's 3 tablespoons here. And then we're actually going to use a cup of coconut water also. So coconut water, we heard a lot about this probably, I want to say maybe 3 or 4 years ago. It's so healthy, so great. And a couple of things I want to say about coconut water. Some of them do have added sugar, so you want to be careful of that. And that'll tell you right on the label. It'll tell you how much. On this can, it actually says the serving size is 1 cup. So there's 2 cups in the whole container. So it gives you the breakdown for 1 cup and then the whole can. So for 1 cup, there's 10 grams of sugar, but that is naturally occurring in the coconut water. That is not any added sugar. So that's what you want to look for when you're looking for coconut water. Also, like, the big claim was about the electrolytes. So they do have, it does have a decent amount of potassium. It's about 10%, which is, a fairly good source. And then it also has a little bit of sodium, which I know typically we say, oh, you want to steer clear of so much added salt. But when we are trying to stay hydrated, a lot of times we lose salt and other electrolytes in sweat. So it is okay that something like this has a little bit of sodium. This is like negligible, though. It only has about 3%. So different electrolyte needs will vary based on type of exercise and all those types of things. So you can always speak with your physician about it, or contact a medical professional, dietitian, whoever you're working with, about how to find the needs that work for you. But that is why coconut water was so popular for hydration. So I'm gonna put a cup in here. Seems like a lot. I don't know that I'll use all this actually, because I want to make it a little thicker. And again, that's what's fun about these. If you want a thicker smoothie, play with it. You don't have to use as much liquid. So let's blend this up. So again, I'm going to turn on the blender. So if you guys want to go on mute, or mute me. So this one's definitely more liquidy than I would have liked it. And what I could have done there was just cut back on the amount of coconut water that I put in. But again, it's really up to you, depending on what you want. Now I'm having trouble opening it. There we go. Okay, yeah, definitely more liquidy than I would have liked, but let me grab a cup. Does anybody work with mango in smoothies? It's such a fun, like, refreshing fruit to use. Okay, it's definitely thicker than the green smoothie was, but perfectly sweet, just a touch of mango. The vanilla really does make it taste like a creamsicle. That is pretty amazing. So again, you could definitely play with this. This one doesn't have any syrup or honey associated with it, but remember, you're adding some sugar with the orange juice, you're adding sugar with the coconut water, you're adding sugar with the vanilla yogurt. So just play around with that. So, and of course the mango has natural sugar, right? All right, last one. Just want to move this stuff over. Get our smoothies here. Okay, so this one is pretty cool. So with this, I've already filled some of my ingredients in here. I have oatmeal, which is kind of strange for smoothies, but what you can do, especially for something like this, my food processor is a little too big to be able to do this efficiently, but you could grind these down almost to like an oat powder, or just to make it a little smoother. I added peanut butter, which is going to add good fat, fiber, as well as protein. And then this recipe had plain Greek yogurt. So Not going to have as much added sugar as the vanilla Greek yogurt, and it's going to add great protein. So you guys can hear I'm talking about all these nutrients that are already in here, which is really nice. What we want to add is definitely carbohydrates. The recipe calls for 2 bananas. And what's so tricky is making sure all of your fruits are ripe at the time you want to make a smoothie. And just FYI, the recipe with the mango that I just made serves 2. And the same with this recipe. So 2 bananas for 2 people. So 1 banana each. I'm going a little over the max line, but hopefully that'll be okay. And bananas are also going to offer a really great source of potassium as well. So if that's something that you are also concerned with. Let me add, I'm actually, just because I know my blender well, I don't think this is going to blend very well without a little bit of liquid. So I am going to add a little bit of almond milk. And what I love about using unsweetened almond milk is that it doesn't add sugar. So you can use unsweetened oat milk, unsweetened, you know, there's so many different types of milks out there. Cashew milk, whatever you like. But if you wanted to use regular milk, that's absolutely fine too. And what's great about that is it's going to add protein. It just also will add some carbohydrates. So it's really about the balance there that you want to be mindful of. But you also have to think about how many people are eating it as well. All right, if you guys want to mute me, I'm going to use the blender. Guys, I forgot the cocoa powder. I was like, why does this look so weird? Would still be delicious, but we definitely want cocoa powder in there. And it's sitting right in front of my face too. Also, when I layered the ingredients, I made sure to put the ingredients that would kind of like lift off the bottom really easily, especially since I knew I was flipping it over depending on the type of blender that you have. So I used the oats because if I put peanut butter at the bottom, it never would have blended up. So just another quick tip. All right, I'm gonna do this one more time. I can tell it needs a little more liquid, and you guys will know with your blender what works for you. But this is really cool because even the top almost looks like a mousse or a pudding, so that is awesome. Has anybody ever made avocado pudding? That's a really fun one. We should do that recipe one day. See if Food Smart has one. All right, one more time, guys. Okay, this one is definitely thicker. I'll grab a cup for that. So you guys can see, you could actually probably eat this with a spoon, which is awesome. And the bananas really thicken it up too, actually, believe it or not. I've actually made banana ice cream before too, which is really good. All right, so there we have our 3 smoothies, and they're really nice options. So remember, when you're building a smoothie, you want to make sure that you are choosing, depending on how you're using it. So if you are looking for like a refreshing, cool beverage, maybe something like this is something you would choose, because maybe you don't need a tremendous amount of protein. You're not necessarily satisfying any hunger. It's more of just, hey, I want a little snack and to get some good nutrients. This might be something I would choose. For these two, these are definitely going to have more of that fullness factor. So this one has oats. When we think about that, that's a whole grain. That's going to offer fiber. So there's carbohydrate in addition to the banana. And then this one also has the peanut butter. So remember, that has good fiber, good fat, protein. And then also the Greek yogurt is, I use non-fat, so that's not going to have any fat, but it's going to have good protein. So these two are more balanced than I would say this one is. So when looking for recipes, just for smoothies, just thinking about how you're going to utilize them is really important. Does anybody have a favorite like smoothie that they like to make, or are they like anybody like a big smoothie fans that pretty much a staple in the summertime? Anything anybody wants to share? And just as a reminder, these are 2 servings. So I do have some left in each of the containers for the blender. No, I know it's hot.
Make a lot of strawberries.
Strawberry, that's a nice one. I've done strawberry banana, it's really good too. I love that combination.
Yeah.
Love
I do that with strawberry, banana, Greek yogurt, orange juice, and it comes out pretty thick. It's usually what I have for breakfast when I'm
love
working out.
that. And does that keep you full?
Yeah. It's
Yes,
very
I love it.
So.
Yes, and the protein in the yogurt also helps so much with fullness. So that's a really great addition. Thank you. I love that. Anybody else?
I do blueberry with peanut butter powder. So like the PB&J.
I love that.
Yeah.
Yep. Do you use Greek yogurt too, or milk? What's usually your base for liquid?
I used to use like almond milk.
Mhm.
Almond milk. Mm-hmm.
Awesome. I love that. That's a fun take on it too. So we did chocolate banana, or chocolate peanut butter, but I love the peanut butter and jelly. That's great. That's really fun.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for sharing. Jen, I think Nick posted something. So I just saw the name flash.
Yeah, pineapple, mint, celery, spinach, blue, and blackberries.
That is
protein
fun.
and ice, and an animal supplement in liquid and a powder form as well as collagen.
Wow, lots of good stuff in there too. A lot of good antioxidants. Love that. And it's really fun to be able to kind of blend veggies in too, right? I have a friend, I haven't actually tried this. I can't believe I haven't, but I have a friend who puts frozen cauliflower rice in hers, which I know sounds not great, but cauliflower doesn't have a tremendous taste. So if you put it in something with a lot of flavor, like in something like this, or even this one, if it has a lot of mango or whatever the case may be, you might not be able to taste it at all. So if you're not a really big cauliflower fan, that could be a fun way to incorporate it. I haven't tried it yet, so if I do, I'll let you guys know. Jen, do you have a second to take them through where to find the recipes? I know you talked it, but maybe it'd be good for them to see.
Sure. I actually, I do have your voucher code actually up and ready. The recipes are right within your Virgin Pulse. If you go to your programs tab, and you'll scroll down to see Food Smart by Sapongo, you'll find all the recipes. You click on the top right corner, you'll find your recipes. I also like to mention, like, start with your nutrition quiz. Your nutrition quiz will help you personalize your experience. I believe the site actually, go figure, right now is down right now. At least on my end, I cannot access my my Virgin Pulse site right now.
What are the chances, right?
No, right. What are the chances at the same time right now? So it should be up very shortly. But yeah, go into your Virgin Pulse. You'll see Food Smart by Sapongo within programs, or I always like to go to my nutrition guide under health tab, and you'll see try recipes, and you can access it that way as well. So I'm going